Welcome to Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm Josh Coan.
I'm Carter Burquest.
Today we're talking about our hometown Minnesota Vikings. Stefon Diggs has been on a tear. He wasn't even activated the first 3 games. The next 2 games he comes in and looks like a veteran Pro Bowl caliber receiver already, like right away.
So 5th round pick, crazy.
We're going to play Factor Fantasy. Stefon Diggs will make us all forget about Randy Moss. Since Moss left, we have had... Now, it sounds extreme, but since Moss left, we haven't had a decent receiver. Not even a decent receiver. We drafted Troy Williamson to try to replace him in the first round that first year.
I think that there's 2 thumbs.
Honestly, he might be the big... I saw something on Twitter. People were talking about the biggest bust in franchise history. It might be Troy Williamson. That might be a different debate for another time. Sidney Rice looked really good when he drafted him. Big, tall receiver, good hands. Injury issues.
Yep.
I mean, not really his own fault, but never really... obviously didn't develop into the next Randy Moss. Even Randy Moss himself could not replace Randy Moss. When they brought him back, there was such a disappointment in the fights with Childress.
Let's just forget about that.
It was bad. And then the latest was probably Cordero Patterson, who was drafted in the first round, chose to wear number 84, which I guess Moss was never really a fan of, him wearing his number.
Yeah.
Anyways, long list of guys. Is Diggs finally it? Is he... I mean, we really haven't had a legitimate good receiver since Moss left.
Yeah, I mean, I think you gotta call fantasy on this one. I think you gotta pump the brakes. Yes, Diggs has looked incredible. He has the 2nd most receiving yards in his first 2 games in Vikings history. And he's looked really good doing it. He's shown that he can run routes. He's shown he can break tackles. He's shown he can make nice catches or tough catches in traffic. So he has shown it all. But I just don't think he has... What Moss had, you can't quantify. What Moss had is something that no receiver in NFL history has ever had. So I do not think you can just put Diggs in that category. But that does not think I don't think Diggs can be really good, because I do. He has shown that he can be a really good receiver.
He's not Randy Moss. He will not make us forget Randy Moss. No. Randy Moss is maybe, in my opinion, greatest receiver to ever play.
Forget Randy Moss.
But Diggs definitely looks like he belongs in the NFL. I didn't know if he even belonged. Coming out of Maryland, he's an undersized guy. Seemed like maybe he would fit more as a punt returner gimmick guy. But watching him run his routes, he looked, and the way he catches the ball, got to secure it a little bit better. He had a couple of fumbles that he recovered himself, but he looks like he belongs in the NFL. He's not going to replace Randy Moss. He's not going to make us forget about Randy Moss. But I think he might help us move on a little bit.
Yeah.
Because losing Moss the way we did hurt even so much more when you don't get, you never ever got, I mean, legitimate production from the receiver position after he left. Like, that's a lot of it's quarterbacks, but Moss didn't have that excuse. He didn't have very good quarterbacks. Him and Carter never had good quarterbacks. No. A couple guys here and there with decent seasons, but
so you calling fantasy?
So I gotta go fantasy. He's not gonna make us forget, but I think he'll help us move on. I think
one
the best
thing
receiver we've had since Moss.
He will help us forget is the bust on Cordero Patterson. I think it's time to call a spade that it's looking more and more like he is going to be a bust. So I think that pick really helps you kind of move past that bust.
Kind of even out a little bit.
Yep.
Cordero looks more like a 5th round pick, and Diggs looks like a number 1 guy. Pick. So yeah, it kind of evens it out, and I think that's okay. And I'm okay with cutting bait and moving on to Cordero, because even as a gimmick guy, it's not going to happen in Minnesota. I wish him the best somewhere else, but it's just... He didn't have whether it's the work ethic or right between the ears or the route running mechanics. I don't know what it is.
Not there.
But we'll move on with Diggs as a receiver, and good luck with Cordero somewhere else, I guess. So, all right. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
All right. Thanks for
watching.
watching.
We're going fantasy.
Fantasy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.